What's going on, guys? In today's video, we are outside Stevie Johnston's house. Now, if you don't know who Stevie Johnston is, he's one of the #1 social media marketing agencies out there. And in today's video, we're gonna be extracting as much information as humanly possible for all the young entrepreneurs out there. So let's get knocking and see if he's home, baby. Pulling up, notice the Lambo right here. Here we go, guys. Mr. Stevie, baby. Let's go, baby. Yo, let's get you mic'd up. Let's get this man mic'd up. Let's get inside. Can we possibly get a house tour?
Yeah, come on. Here is the living room and the kitchen.
Wow. Kitchen's huge. The island's huge.
Big island, gas stove. This is actually my boy, Hayden. He runs an agency. He's about 75K a month. He's just working right now. Got the cold plunge, little setup out here. I started cold plunging like a month ago and just decided to get one because that gives you so much energy. And then when you have that little dip in energy, if you jump in the cold plunge, you'll be ready to go again. So it's like a whole new wave of energy. Mr. Kai, Kai, sit. Good boy. So this is the second living room that I just turned into an office.
I see the Inc. 5000.
So this the fastest growing private companies in the United States, and really how they measure the growth is by revenue growth, percentage revenue growth over 3 years. That have made this list. There's a lot of cool brands on there. But yeah.
And what number were you?
I was number 380. I'll show you guys the master. This is my closet. Very simple, minimalist setup. One of my favorite parts about this house though is my bathroom. It's all marble. Love the shower. Got this cool little.
Or how do the circles work? Is it the bigger circle or the smaller circle?
And so the big one, I think means.
I'll take your word for it.
This shower is remote.
Oh my God.
Remote, water comes from the ceiling, and you control the degrees. So here's my balcony. Can I sit? Sit. So I'll show you guys the spare bedrooms. Obviously I'm still furnishing and stuff, but this is one room.
Oh, it's got a balcony too?
Yeah, we got a cool balcony.
Ever since I've known you, I know you lived in Florida, but why move here and why Fort Lauderdale?
I was very established in San Diego with the agency. We had an office. COVID happened, obviously out of nowhere. Within 3 days, we went from like the world's coming to an end to everything being remote, mandatory in California. After about 2 weeks of we don't need to be locked up in an apartment.
Was that a hard decision?
It was the easiest decision I've ever made. I love change. I love switching up the environment. Change is good. It's exciting. You know, it's new perspectives.
Again, thank you for having us out. And the goal of today's video is obviously to extract the most amount of value possible for all the young entrepreneurs out there. So first question for the people out there, how much revenue is your company bringing in right now per year?
So this year, we'll be definitely doing over 5 mil. We've finally figured out a game plan in terms of building a sales machine to really get us to that 8-figure level, which is what we're working really hard towards right now.
So I understand where you're at now. I mean, the house is insane, but take us back to when you first started.
I basically ended up doing the whole college thing. I did 2 years in City College and then I did 2 years at Arizona State. I did pick a tough degree. It was economics, business. So I didn't really have any opportunities out of college. So I ended up just working in the restaurant business, specifically the health type of restaurant, smoothies, juices, health food. My goal is like, all right, I'm gonna work here and try to figure it out and see if I can replicate this back in California. At the time, this is in Scottsdale, Arizona, where I was living. One day I get hit with a Ty Lopez ad.
We all did.
How to start a social media marketing agency. And I did have marketing experience before because one of my roommates in college had an apparel company that was actually doing like 15 to 20K a month in Shopify sales in college. So when I got hit with Ty Lopez, it was like literally the biggest fucking aha moment ever. 10,000 a month. I can do this. I can do this. And so I literally bought that course for like $700.
So you bought a course basically from Ty Lopez. I actually never bought the course.
It was all like low level stuff, but that's fine. All I needed was to be told that digital marketing was an actual proven business model that's been around for years and would work as long as you figured it out. That's all I needed to hear. So that was worth the $700 at that time.
So you just basically were looking for like the conviction of something that that you knew could work?
I believe the shit out of it. Like my conviction on that business model and me being able to do that was like so damn high. I guess one thing that I've naturally had, especially in the beginning, which is rare, is I didn't have shiny object syndrome. I stuck so hard into the first business idea that I picked. And then when I picked niche, I stuck there the whole damn time and just let time play its course in terms of building experience.
How did you stick with that one thing and avoid shiny object syndrome to maybe saying, you know, fuck SMMA, let me go try ecom, or let me go try Airbnb arbitrage? Why did you stick with it?
If I start something new, then I have to completely learn everything over again. I just wanted to stay in the thing that I was like learning so much about, even though I didn't have any results until like 7 months in.
So I'm curious because you started way back, right? Like 2017. What was it that you looked for in people like Jeremy Haynes? What other mentors did you have getting started? And how did you actually find somebody that was trustworthy so you didn't waste your time on things that were probably not working because they'd never been there in the first place?
When you're first starting out, it's just a gut instinct type of feel. It's almost like some people who have street smarts and some people who don't. For Jeremy Haynes, which is like the first thing I invested in after Ty Lopez, I felt the message he was delivering within Ty Lopez's course the most. Like it felt the most here to where I was like, fuck, I gotta learn more from that guy. So the first one was almost like just instinct, right? Now, as you go on, your instincts aren't always gonna be right. So I have invested in something before that was like 8K. It was crazy. And then I also back it up with validation, big time. So I invested in that and that was an absolute success. I mean, that fucking...
The instinct that I think you're saying is if you can feel others' conviction, but there's also social proof behind it.
Yeah, so the best way to do it is you have to vibe, right? You gotta feel it and then you gotta validate track record.
When you were first getting started, it took you 7 months to get your first client. So how did you get that first client? And then after that, how did you get 10 more?
My first client is basically an accident. I messed my neck up doing front squats. I ended up going to this chiropractor in Scottsdale. I wasn't even thinking about SMMA or anything like that. He fixes my neck in literally 2 days. And then immediately, one moment in there, I was like, who's doing your marketing? We meet up for Starbucks. I do his marketing for free. He gives me a $500 ad budget. I completely blow it. Waste all of it. That was the first client. Second client, I actually got through cold calling. So during that time, I was really learning how to cold email. That's how I got Serafini. I was like, oh my God. Start blasting these emails, writing them out, just trying to be as creative as possible. He referred me like 2 other clients, and then he referred me to his CRM company that worked with a bunch of offices. We partnered with them. They started sending me a lot of clients. But yeah, that was basically what it looked like, was cold call, cold email, and referral.
That's awesome. I think for the beginners out there, if you struggle to like say the right thing or overcome the objections, you can actually take a call beforehand. So the first call, guards down, there's no sale, so you can just be yourself, collect all the information, and then when you go to the sales call, you have all the ammo. So what's your advice to people just getting started in how to retain clients, whether they are a social media marketing agency or a coach or a consultant?
So I was obsessed over the relationship, the delivery, the fulfillment, all of it. I was obsessed because I was scared of losing it.
For the beginners out there, if you're started with your company and you're afraid to talk to your own clients, if you ever hire out, don't you think the employees would kind of replicate the founder and also be afraid to go to the clients first and maybe solve problems right when they come up?
First off, you have a vision for the company, you have core values, you have a purpose in the company, and when you really put that down on paper on what the values are, what the vision is, where we're taking the company, why we're doing what we're doing. And so it's not just like hire anyone, it's hire people who have skill sets and characteristic traits and are solid people, but that also are like, man, I love what you guys are doing. They ask, what's the goal for the company? They're like, wow, that's awesome.
So before I get into the last questions, I did notice a nice little cigar lounge downstairs. Is there any way we jump in the pool and close out the video with a couple more?
Let's go.
All right. I mean, obviously we went through the house today. We see the empire you've built. I understand you're making $5 million this year. Thank you. Did you ever get to a point where you thought about quitting on your come up when you were just starting?
Obviously there was a handful of times that I thought about quitting, but it kind of reflects back to what I was previously saying. The pain that I was facing, the hard times of trying to get clients and failing clients, and like was nowhere near the amount of pain I was facing of working in the restaurant, showing up there every day, and having to go through those day-to-day motions. That was the most extreme fucking pain. So it was like starting a business and getting it off the ground. The market is gonna test how bad you actually want that to happen.
What separates truly the winning entrepreneurs from the losing?
I think what separates winners from losers is losers obviously quit. So a great immediate way to become a loser is quitting. If you don't quit and you keep learning from your mistakes, that person is going to eventually be a winner because they're not quitting.
Stevie, last question. If you had to, and this is a hard question, for the advice for people to 0 to 10K, what's the most important thing?
Putting together basically a simple product, especially for just starting out, and just really learning how to prospect and sell. But the big part of there is getting clients and learning how to sell is one of the most important things. We figured out what people actually wanted, and we were actually successful at delivering it, which is how we got from here to then like massive growth.
So 0 to 10 is basically just figuring out how to get the clients. To get to 100 is once you figure out how, go all in on that and avoid shiny object syndrome. So you're picking one channel. And then to get to 1 million, that's where you revamp and look back and see how can you improve in every single facet of the product so that you never run into the retention issues that most businesses do. Yeah, so dude, Stevie, thanks so much for having us out. I'm gonna get out of your hair. Can I ask for a Lambo rev before we leave? All right.